Hey, I'm Andrew Ragnarok.
I'm Diane McCullum.
And we're the creators of the From Superheroes Network. And today we are going to be ranking all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies.
But here's the twist. We're both ranking them.
We're both ranking them. It's a double blind. We don't know what each other has chosen for our favorite movies. So we've had a lot of people ask us how we rank all of the MCU movies. Well, today is going to be your answer, and we're going to have to figure out where we align and where we fall apart.
So watch us fight, watch us agree. Let's see what happens.
Let's start the list. Starting at the bottom of the list, the worst ranked in the MCU in our opinion, number 18, I'm saying Iron Man 3.
I also said Iron Man 3. Agree!
Huzzah, it's an agree.
It's definitely the lowest ranked movie. Way to go, Iron Man 3. Maybe don't have a villain called the Mandarin.
Yeah, don't have a villain called the Mandarin. Don't try for the, a surprise marketing campaign. Just didn't work all around.
No kids.
No kids,
no
yes,
kids,
yes.
guys.
Funky kid sidekick in the second act doesn't work. Yeah, no, it just doesn't work. It's not irredeemable. This is the thing I think we'll learn about this list is that even the worst rank one, Iron Man 3, it still has redeeming aspects, but it's still the worst.
I like every movie on this list.
Yeah.
It's a list of likes going up.
Okay. All right, so Iron Man 3 was number 18. Moving on. All right, next on the list, what we rank number 17, I'm saying The Incredible Hulk.
I also said The Incredible Hulk.
It's an agree!
Oh, this list is going great, guys. This is definitive.
This is going terrific.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, The Incredible Hulk is one that just they hadn't hit their stride yet. Edward Norton doesn't really work as Bruce Banner. Mark Ruffalo was a much better decision later. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, Hulk is just, to me, very hard to do standalone movies for. He really needs the rest of the team around him. And yeah, and when you compare Edward Norton to what we get with Mark Ruffalo, it's night and day.
Yeah.
But it's still a fine movie. I've seen it 4 times.
Yeah, but for the most part, yeah, just doesn't work. Largely because of Edward Norton, some bad CGI as well. It's not as good looking as anything else the Marvel Universe did.
I constantly forget it's MCU. It feels pre-MCU.
It's really easy to forget. And I agree with you that Hulk is tough to do standalone. I feel like he did work as a television show though. Something about the wandering man who just can't find a home. That works for me, but the movie doesn't.
But in the MCU, 17?
Alright, it's an agree. Alright, number 16, next up on the list. I'm saying Iron Man 2.
Ooh, I'm Avengers Age of Ultron.
Oh, it's a disagree.
Oh, disagree.
Okay, alright.
We're factioning.
Alright, so you put Age of Ultron pretty low then.
Age of Ultron is the only MCU movie I've only ever watched once and had no urge to ever see again.
Okay, I get that.
Yeah, it just, compared to Avengers 1, and just there's nothing fun about it. Yeah, I rank Ultron pretty low.
See, for me it's Iron Man 2 because as much as I love Don Cheadle as a new War Machine, we had Incredible Hulk a second ago on the list as changing actors. Don Cheadle as War Machine is a much better actor, I think, than Terrence Howard for the part, but doesn't really find its stride in this. In Iron Man 2, it's a very gray movie. Whiplash doesn't really work as a villain, and it's really just kind of more of the same but blander, so I really put Iron Man 2 down there.
Yeah, it's got that it's a Whiplash, but it's also Justin Hammer, and neither of them are super threatening. I get it being low.
Alright, so it's a disagree. We got Age of Ultron and Iron Man 2. Alright, moving up the list, number 15, I'm putting as Thor the Dark World.
I am Iron Man 2, which is why I didn't argue very much a second ago.
Okay, pretty close to one another on that
Iron Man 2. Thor the Dark World is pretty low for Thor the Dark World.
It is pretty low for Thor the Dark World, and again, much like Iron Man 3, one of its biggest problems is that it's 4 different movies crammed into one and none of them work together.
Yeah.
So there's a little too much going on that needed to be condensed down in Dark World.
For sure. You can feel in the rewrites when they added so much Loki, they lost a lot of story working.
Yeah, and you could feel that Natalie Portman wanted out. It just doesn't work for a lot of reasons.
It doesn't work for a lot of reasons.
Another bland, gray Marvel movie as well.
Very gray. It's got some fun parts. I've seen it a few times. It's going to be a little higher in my list just because of Loki love, but I get it being down there.
Okay, fair enough. And why was Iron Man 2 in this slot for you? Just same as I was saying?
Just the same as we were saying. The villain's kind of blah. It's not very, I don't even barely remember what happened. I've seen it 3 times.
Fair enough.
To me, that puts you pretty low on the list.
Alright, Iron Man 2 and Thor the Dark World. Alright, so number 14, I'm throwing out what you threw out a minute ago, Avengers Age of Ultron.
Pretty low. I like that. Yeah. And I'm going to throw it, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this one. It's very early in the list, Guardians Volume 2.
Ooh, okay. I had some debate about where to put Volume 2. I respect that you're putting it this low. Yeah.
My whole bottom list is basically like sequels.
Yeah, okay. Why Guardians Volume 2 this low?
It just doesn't work. Like, I think Act 3 works a bit, but like the jokes don't land, it drags, they separated all the Guardians, and I'm like, I'm watching this movie to see the Guardians interact.
It's a team movie and they separate the team.
What about you, Age of Ultron?
Age of Ultron, not as low on the list as you. I feel like it's got problems and it's a bad movie, but there are little moments that kind of work where, like, I know the farm stuff gets a lot of hate, but I actually kind of like don't mind some of the Hawkeye moments in this movie. His pep talk to Scarlet Witch is actually very inspirational. There are little like 2-minute YouTube clips of this movie that I rather enjoy, but I don't enjoy this movie as a whole.
If you see this movie just through like GIFs on Tumblr, it's like quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I agree totally on the Hawkeye speech to Scarlet Witch. It's actually like a top MCU moment for me, but the movie doesn't rank.
So Guardians Volume 2 and Avengers Age of Ultron. Moving up the list to number 13, I'm putting Guardians Volume 2 there.
I'm putting Thor: The Dark World.
Okay.
Alright, so we're not too distant.
We're not too far off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not wild changes or anything.
No. What do you feel about Guardians 2?
Exactly what you were saying a moment ago. They split up the team. We just saw the team assemble. Now we break off into these little micro stories. I did become very emotional and cry during the third act climax of Volume 2. But otherwise it didn't get to me.
100% agree. In third act, I was very emotional, but the rest of it, I'm like, I don't like any of these team-ups. Like, I don't like Peter with his dad, I don't like Rocket with Yondu.
And I feel like the only reason it's even this high up for me is because it's visually stunning. It's still very colorful and bright and vibrant, and even though I don't like that Yondu and Rocket just murdered a bunch of random people, that's a gorgeous looking moment, as opposed to your choice, which is a very great movie.
Yeah, Thor is very great. It's got some really good humor bits though. Like people like when he lays the hammer down into the coat rack and it just kind of hangs there. It does really like flesh out Loki, who becomes a big part of the universe, obviously. It does total disservice to Natalie Portman's character though, which is why she like just drops out of the film for half an hour, which is why it's kind of pretty low down my list.
Cool, I get that. All right, Thor: The Dark World and Volume 2. Moving on to number 12, I'm gonna say Doctor Strange.
I also said Doctor Strange!
It's an agree!
That's definitely it then.
Yeah. So why so low, but why not bottom for Doctor Strange for you?
Doctor Strange is weird because it would be higher for me if it was just the theatrical seeing of Doctor Strange, but Doctor Strange is so huge in its special effects that when you watch it at home, it's not nearly as good.
I agree. It was a visual spectacle, which is why it's even as high up as it is. I feel like it's got a lot of story problems, but it is probably the best movie I've ever seen in 3D. The 3D in it is incredible. It's a visual spectacle. It looks great. I just don't really care about Stephen Strange as a character, and he's very unsympathetic and unlikable in this movie.
Yeah, and he's not even all that funny or fun. He's not all that conflicted. So like as a story, it's not that great, but as like just a visual spectacle, it's kind of amazing. And some of the stuff with the Ancient One actually gets to me. Like her speech when she's dying is actually quite nice and beautiful. There's definitely some real redeeming qualities to Doctor Strange.
Yeah, but the lowest quality is Stephen Strange, the titular character.
The main character. Yeah, that's not what you want.
Yeah, alright, so we gotta agree. Doctor Strange. Alright, number 11, I'm gonna say Ant-Man.
I also said Ant-Man.
We got another agree.
Tiny.
It's higher up on the list because there's a lot about it that works. Paul Rudd, one of the best casting decisions that they made, incredibly like funny, charming, vibrant, and a lot of really like funny, clever stuff in this movie, but no villain cares. Just I do not give a care about this villain story.
That's totally fair. Yeah, no villain, but great effects, great use of humor, even great heart, like the stuff with him and his daughters.
The daughter stuff really worked for me too.
Even some of the daughter stuff with like Hope and her dad is really nice. I put this a little bit lower just because Hope is totally underutilized and should be Ant-Man.
Okay.
Or the Wasp already in this movie.
Right.
That seems to be like a real undercurrent of these lower Marvel picks for me. It's just like, yeah, the women don't do anything.
Right.
But it's a real fun movie and so good compared to how bad it should be for losing its director halfway through.
Yes, absolutely.
So still impressive.
It should be more of a mishmash of ideas, but it's surprisingly cohesive for everything that went on behind the scenes with this film.
So yeah, that's Ant-Man.
All right, so number 10, I'm gonna say Thor.
I'm going to hurt your feelings and say Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, my Spider-Man.
But everything in my top 10, I really, really like. All the top 10 is pretty close to each other. Spider-Man has like really good action and amazing, amazing humor. I just find the stakes a little low. Like, he doesn't really save that many people, if anybody. The final fight, though the reveal of the Vulture is amazing, the final fight is just about some stuff. I'm not too worried about like what's gonna happen if he loses. So like stakes-wise, it's a little low for me, but in terms of just entertainment value, it is very entertaining.
And for me, I'm putting Thor just kind of like towards the middle of the pack because it is fun and a lot works. Like it's Shakespearean, it's Henry V in space. There's a lot about it that really, really works, but they just needed to reveal Loki as a villain a little bit sooner. We as an audience knew he was a villain, but I needed Thor to
He's pale and he's got dark hair. Of course he's a villain.
I mean, we knew. We knew.
We knew.
But other than that, I feel like it does work as a fun Shakespearean play in space, and I just needed Thor to know who the villain of the film was a little sooner rather than think it's himself for a good hour and a half.
I get that. That's fair. All right, so you need more villain, I need more stakes.
Yeah, here we go.
That's our number 10.
All right, number 9, I'm ranking Captain America Civil War.
Civil War all the way at 9?
Civil War is all the way down to 9.
Oh my. For my 9, I actually have Thor 1.
Oh, okay, so pretty close to where I was
Pretty close to where you were at with Thor.
And what are your feelings on Thor 1?
I think Thor 1 is such a better movie than we remember it being. When you rewatch it, now that like we're kind of used to the MCU and we're used to Thor's world, I think when we first saw it, when it first came out, everyone was kind of like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot to like learn and take in, but on rewatch, it's just a real solid movie. The action lands, the humor lands, the relationships really work. Loki's story is oddly well played out, which I did not remember it being. So yeah, Thor is actually like a pretty high one for me. But I kind of want to say, what do you have against Civil War? This seems very low.
For putting it this low? Civil War is another one where there's a series of fun moments. Much like what I was saying about Age of Ultron a moment ago, where it has good little moments. Civil War has much more good moments, but I still don't really feel the heart of the story. I feel the heart of Bucky and Steve's friendship, but I don't feel the rift of Tony and Steve. It didn't feel like a good cause for Civil War. That airport fight scene, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's a wonderful set piece, there's great humor when Ant-Man shows up, introduction of Spider-Man, but as a whole, it does lose a little bit of steam for like the stakes and feeling it.
I can get that. No, I can get behind that. I feel like that's kind of like my Spider-Man feelings.
All right, number 8, I am going to say Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Oh, Volume 1 down to number 8. I am going to say Iron Man. The first Iron Man is amazing, start of the MCU. Really, like I said, my entire top 10 is pretty good. I don't have a lot of flaws with Iron Man. Like, wow, what an introduction to a character. Like, we fall in love with Tony Stark in this movie. And we shouldn't, because he's kind of an asshole like Doctor Strange. But they make him personable and work, and RDJ just brings it, and Pepper Potts just brings it, and the introduction of Coulson, like, everything about this movie works. I think it's only just so far down because it is the first one, and Marvel just improved from there, but this was like the great starting point.
And for me, I'm putting Guardians Volume 1 up here, and I'm going to say up here now because it's getting a little bit higher. It's a visual spectacle. It was absolutely gorgeous, one of the best looking Marvel movies. The humor was incredible. I really bought this as an unlikely family that came together. I would say possibly even more than I buy the Avengers as an unlikely family. Even Avengers at their strongest feels like co-workers who get along really well, but the Guardians feel like true family, and I feel it, and I really like Guardians for that.
I get that, because the Guardians are actually all misfits who only can interact with each other, whereas the Avengers can kind of be friends with anybody, and they just kind of happen to be friends with each other. But yeah, Guardians is a great movie.
There we go. Iron Man, Guardians, moving on. All right, up to number 7. This is where I'm going to put Captain America, the First Avenger.
So am I.
Oh, it's an agree! We did it.
We did it. We got back on track with each other.
Yeah.
All right. I guess it's the 7th best Marvel movie.
I feel like some people are going to be surprised with us on this one that we put the First Avenger this high, because I don't think most people rank it this high?
It's on IMDb, it's the second lowest MCU movie. MCU movie after Incredible Hulk.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I don't get it.
Yeah.
This is a great one.
I feel like part of the reason why in our minds we all kind of ranked this a little bit lower was the fact that they put the theatrical release of this movie so close to the Avengers. It was, what was
right
it, like 2 months within one another? So people saw Captain America, the first Avenger, and then saw this big spectacle of the Avengers. It's good, and it's different. Like, it's a fun period piece, and in all of the MCU, it's really just kind of Thor and Captain America, the first Avenger, in my opinion, that are different settings, different styles, different pieces of art.
Yeah, totally different than anything you'll get in the rest of the MCU. Yeah, like, we'll never go back to World War II again. Like, this is a very unique story, a very unique origin, and it's just done very well. It's it's funnier than you remember.
Yeah.
The action's better than you probably remember. It's a great movie. Rewatch it.
Frankly, the only reason it's not ranked higher is because of underutilization of Red Skull.
And to go back to like my other complaints with other movies, Peggy's used very well.
Yes.
This is probably, other than Black Widow, like the best female character in a Marvel movie.
A great supporting cast. Peggy and Bucky, and it just really works. All right.
If we agree on it, it means it's true.
Yeah. All right, we're up to number 6 now, and this is where I'm gonna put my boy Spider-Man Homecoming.
That's where your Spider-Man is?
That's where my Spider-Man is.
We're getting into the goodies, and I'm gonna put my boy Black Panther. Black Panther is, we probably should have mentioned him in a second ago when we talked about Cap. It's like a movie you're never gonna see again. Like, set in Wakanda,
that's a good
beautiful place. Like, all the supporting characters are so good. The action's so good. The humor's so good. Really, it would be like probably number 1, number 2 if, again, the third act had a bit more stakes.
Okay.
The weapons leaving Wakanda to me was not very high stakes. I didn't really care. But Killmonger, amazing villain, so important, so rare in the MCU. So I loved Black Panther. And you have Spider-Man up on your list very high. Do you love Spider-Man?
Well, it's because I love Spider-Man, and because I find endearing about him one of the things that didn't land for you, which is the fact that the stakes are small. He's a kid who carries the burden of the world on his shoulders, and he really shouldn't. He should let some of that go. I feel like Vulture is a very, very well done villain. Like, Michael Keaton crushes that role, and it's sympathetic and relatable and understandable, and a twist I didn't see coming.
That's the thing. He's a great villain, and might be the first proper twist in a Marvel movie that
like non-Mandarin
non-Mandarin, like, didn't see coming, but they gave you all the clues. Like, perfectly done twist.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't reveal it in the marketing. So smart, so well done.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight you on that.
I'm not gonna fight you on Black Panther either. There we go. Moving on. Number 5, I'm gonna put the Avengers.
Whoa! At number 5.
At number 5.
Who are you?
I don't even know. I don't even know.
Number 5.
I don't even know.
That's a high number, but not a high number.
It's still a very high number. What are you putting at 5?
I'm Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. I mean, I really like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. It's probably the funniest MCU movie.
For sure.
Incredible, and funny in different ways. It's not like there's one funny character. Like,
because Ant-Man was funny, but Ant-Man was
Paul Rudd.
Just Paul Rudd.
I've seen Paul Rudd in other movies being that kind of funny. Drax's type of humor and Groot's humor and Rocket's humor I've never really seen before.
Okay.
And Pratt's humor, obviously, which I've seen, but it's very different. So yeah, the action works, the story really works, it's just surprising around every turn. You cry when Groot dies. There's nothing not to like about Guardians 1. But why is Avengers so low?
That's not low. 5's not low. Avengers is a fantastic movie. I love wall to wall. It's an incredible spectacle. It's one of the most rewatchable MCU movies, and it's fantastically written. It's well performed. All the action set pieces are great. But I just don't feel like it is as special as what my next 4 will be.
Okay.
But I love everything about the Avengers.
I like that. Just it's not special enough. That's very unarguable, but very personable.
Because I feel like my top 4 will be 4 that, going back to what we were saying a few moments ago, that we won't see again. Whereas 5, the Avengers, even though Age of Ultron didn't live up to what Avengers was, it's a movie I feel like we can recreate, and hopefully with Infinity War we will. So as fun and amazing and special as Avengers was, it was special because it was the first, but I feel like we can recreate that magic again, and that's why it's not ranked a little bit higher.
Okay, fair enough. All right, that's number 5.
All right, number 4, this is where I'm putting Black Panther.
That's where you're putting Black Panther?
That's where I'm putting Black Panther.
This is where I'm putting Civil War.
Okay, okay. All right, so why Civil War is so high for you?
Civil War, well, I will admit to a Bucky bias. So there is a...
She has a Bucky bias.
I have a Bucky bias. There's a lot of Cap and Bucky in this movie, but I also just think this movie, it just works. Like the airport fight, so amazing. The fight they're having about registration is so understandable and realistic. And no one's acting too dumb or out of character about it.
Okay.
And everyone, and like Zemo's villain strategy is kind of complicated, but it's so simple and it really does break the Avengers apart. There's just a lot to love in Civil War for me.
I feel like the Zemo thing is probably one of the big reasons why it was lower for me.
That's fair. I just thought it was so bold to do Avengers Disassembled so early in such a unique way. I love this movie. I'd watch it a bunch more times. Well, you love Black Panther, apparently.
I'm putting Black Panther this high. I think it is just a complete spectacle. It's one of the most beautifully made Marvel films. One of the best ensemble casts.
Every character in this movie is good.
Frankly, it might outshine, according to my list, it does outshine the Avengers for incredible cast, and that might be one of my only big problems with it, which is that everyone's too likable, but everyone's great.
You know what? That's totally fair. Yeah. If everyone's likable, you're like, you can never murder anyone in this cast because we'll all riot. Yeah. Black Panther is just too good, almost.
There we go. So number 3, this is where I'm putting Iron Man 1.
Oh wow, that's a high Iron Man 1.
That's a real high one.
We're in medal status.
Yeah.
Get a bronze.
Yeah, bronze for Iron Man 1. What about you? What's your number 3?
My bronze goes to Thor Ragnarok. Well deserved. I don't even think anyone has to hear why I justify this.
It's good.
So funny, so bright. A space opera, but different than Guardians. The Avengers all working together. The reveal of the Hulk. Like doing like a Planet Hulk scenario. Oh my god, Hela?
Yeah.
Strong villain.
Strong
villain, so important. So yeah, strong villain. You have stakes. We lost a lot of people in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
But the humor still lands, and it's just bold. We cut Thor's hair off. There's nothing not to like about Thor Ragnarok. Tell me about Iron Man.
For me, I'm putting Iron Man this high because it's just really what started it all. It's what launched it, and there's so much brilliant storytelling here. It shouldn't be ranked this high due to the fact that Iron Mongrel as a villain doesn't really work. But the framing of this movie is Tony Stark should be as unlikable as Doctor Strange was in his movie, but they did a really smart editing choice of starting the movie with him being injured to make him sympathetic right away. This is the actor who really elevated this and launched this entire franchise, who nobody really wanted, in a story about an unlikable character that shouldn't work, and casting decision, editing choices, and everything brought this together to coalesce into a movie that is one of the most possibly could have been terrible movies in the MCU that turned out brilliant. RDJ
made this movie work on pure charm alone and like makes it absolutely work. Yeah, Iron Man 1 is a fantastic, fantastic movie. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with it being this high. Iron Man deserves it for what it started and for what it is.
It's the film that launched a million movies, you know? Yeah.
18.
It'll be a million.
It'll be a million.
All right, number 2. This is where I'm putting Thor Ragnarok.
This is where I'm putting Avengers.
Ah, okay, okay. Way higher than me for Avengers.
Avengers is Avengers, baby! Okay. Like you say that you think we can see another Avengers movie happen, but as we saw, Age of Ultron's not very good. And I've seen Justice League, which is DC's version of Avengers. Avengers is not an easy movie to make this good.
Right, but you say that Civil War is basically an Avengers movie, and you really like Civil War.
Yeah, so it's in my top 5.
Okay, okay.
And this one is just army of aliens, and you shouldn't care, but they make it so entertaining that you do. The dialogue's so funny. They give you stakes. Oh, they kill Coulson! It's so heartbreaking. It's so good. But they very smartly build a relationship with Coulson and every Avenger before he dies. Yeah. So like, which is so difficult to do. Everything in Avengers works. It deserves the number 2 spot. But yeah, it's Thor Ragnarok.
I'm putting Thor Ragnarok up here is in the sense that it just tickles me. It just hit wall to wall. This is some of the best humor imaginable. It is one of the strongest comedies that I've seen in years. Forget MCU films. It's one of the strongest comedies I've seen of the past 5 years. Every scene makes me laugh. There's so much subtext and importance in here that doesn't have attention drawn to the important societal subtext of this film, and normally I would consider that a missed opportunity, but for this movie it feels like it's not drawing attention to it because it likes the subtlety of it and it wants to keep going with jokes, and I love that. It feels like a movie that was made specifically for me. Like every scene that they wrote, they're like, this is one for Andrew. It felt like it was written
thank you very
for
much.
me. Yeah.
I get that, and I get what you're saying about the subtle themes, because I even saw, like, I've seen some like Tumblr posts and stuff being like, Taika Waititi like made like a colonization movie under marbled noses and nobody even noticed, which is exactly what he did. And it's incredibly well done. I think it's only like a little bit lower for me because I feel like it leans just a little too much towards comedy near the end when there's very dramatic things happening.
Yeah, you could stand to have a cry that you let happen.
It feels like a movie where there should be a cry. So many people die, so much is destroyed in Thor's life. Like, I want to cry when Mjolnir's destroyed, for God's sakes. It's a very big part of our lives. But I'm not going to argue being number two. Ragnarok's fantastic.
All right, we're down to number one, our favorite MCU film.
Gold medal winner,
I don't know if you've been keeping track of what we've been saying and what's been absent, but we've got the same number one, it seems.
Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Oh, you did it, Cap!
It's
you made
agreed.
the best movie! Agreed.
We agree it's the best movie. Captain America, Winter Soldier is the best MCU film.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was concerned my Bucky bias was coming into effect again. I don't know if you're aware, Bucky's a pretty big part of this movie. But I'm glad that the world agrees about Bucky, and this movie just works so hard. It's a 70s spy thriller superhero movie with heart, but with a little bit of comedy, and like the best new character introductions. Like Falcon being introduced is
a great intro.
So fast, but you like him immediately. You get him and Steve click immediately.
Yeah.
The Bucky stuff is heartbreaking. You've been a prisoner of war for 70 years, Bucky.
Everything works in this film, and it's one of the best fight choreographies of any of the MCU films. Like the moment of the Nick Fury car chase. That is one of the best done car chase scenes in terms of its choreography. It's a high-tech French connection. It's raw, it's visceral, and it really gets so much energy happening right at the start.
But then also like the chase with the Winter Soldier and everyone through the streets is amazing. The first fight on the boat, absolutely phenomenal.
Yes, the boat. Yes, I almost forgot about the boat.
The boat fight, and then Steve and Bucky at the end, and like Steve's got to get the microchips in. He doesn't want to hurt Bucky, but he has to. Like, this is a heart-wrenchingly, powerfully good movie.
When Bucky is on top of the bridge and her using the shadows to predict their movement.
She nearly kills him.
She nearly kills the Winter Soldier with one shot.
The elevator fight.
The elevator fight as well. And clever choreography. Brilliant and unique, and I've never really seen in film before, and I don't think I'll see again in terms of just how they incorporate the environment and the character and the scene to all meld into this perfect joint.
For sure, and also just inspirational. When Cap does his speech at the end and he gets the SHIELD people to turn against the Hydra people, like, people are dying, but they're dying for what they believe in, and you're like, it's all just so powerful, and it's a perfect movie, not just a perfect superhero movie. It's the number one best MC movie.
It's the best.
Figured out.
It's the best. I mean, we'll see what Infinity War is gonna bring, but for now, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, we agree.
We agree.
Yeah. And before we go, I just want to thank our friends over at Anthrodesk. If you're not familiar with Anthrodesk, they make phenomenal standing desks. It's this desk behind me right here. They were kind enough to send us at the network one of their single motor standing desks, and it is wonderful. We spend a lot of time here editing podcasts, editing these videos, and just generally doing a lot of work at the computer. And having the option to stand up, get the blood flowing, and be a little bit healthier is going to be a huge help and change the way that we work.
And also, it's just a gorgeous desk. Look at this finish. It's so beautiful.
It's a gorgeous desk. It was easy to assemble. It's quiet, and it just moves up and down really smoothly. Hit the button. Let's send this thing out of here.
Get out of here.
So if you want to get your own, visit anthrodesk.com. That's ANTHRO desk.com, or anthrodesk.ca if you're in Canada. Check out the selection. They're all customizable. And thank you, Anthrodesk.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for watching. Let us know if you agree or disagree. How do you rank all the MCU movies? Mention in the comment below.
Yeah, let us know if you have a bias, if you have a reason behind anything, and let us know which one of us you agree with more, maybe.
And if you want to hear more of us talking about all of the movies mentioned in the list today, subscribe to our podcast, Talk from Superheroes. If you visit talkfromsuperheroes.com or search Talk from Superheroes wherever you get your podcasts, you'll hear full conversations where we discuss every single one of these movies, and we'll be discussing the upcoming Infinity War as well. So be sure to check out and subscribe to our podcast.
And subscribe to this YouTube channel, because it's a great place to get great videos that are free and full of superhero content.
Also do that. You can even hit that little bell icon and be notified whenever we have a new video go live. All of our videos are free, so why not? And until next time, we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.